Hello, everyone. I hope you're fine and having a lovely day wherever you are. So, today we have another podcast, and today we have Dr. Ellie from New York. Hello. And she's a young dentist, and we will hear her story today. So, let's see here. It's a little bit windy. Okay. So I'm in south of Spain and it's like a summer day with a nice weather.
Hi,
Hello, welcome. How are you?
thank you. I'm doing really well. So great to see you again.
Yeah, so great to see you. I didn't have time to tell the listeners that we saw each other. We have seen each other before
Yes.
at your podcast, Teeth Matter. And when I was speaking about the formula of happiness, 3 plus 5, the 5 pillars to happiness, and it's so nice to see you again. And today it's time to hear your story. So
Let's do it.
let's do it. Tell us your story today.
So, I am a general dentist in New York City, and I actually graduated not too long ago. I graduated in 2021, and in New York, it's very much required to do a year of residency. I know you work internationally. I don't really know what the international system is like, but once you finish dental school, you have to do 1 year of residency here in New York. So, I went on and did a residency program outside of Manhattan at a level 1 trauma center. So it's very much trauma heavy, oral surgery heavy, and it was a very exhausting life for that 1 year.
Mm,
But it was a very valuable year because I got to learn so much in terms of how to manage medically complex patients. I got to gain some autonomy. I was able to see my skill set and see how much I'm capable of on my own. And it was not just in terms of surgery, but also in terms of prosthodontics and fillings, because we were only 3 residents in that hospital, only 3 dentists. So there was a lot of volume and a lot of exposure. So I really got a good idea of uh, dentistry in different kinds of domains of dentistry.
mm.
And once I graduated from that program, I was on a high. I was excited. I said, I just accomplished so much. I've learned so much. Now I feel confident to work.
Yeah.
And I get into my first job and I was not happy. It was not what I expected it to be. And I felt very exhausted. And I was disappointed with dentistry. So that's when I started the podcast because I thought, is it just me? Am I the only one feeling
Mm,
this? How could it be me? How can my friends post on Instagram that they're doing so well and they're doing these
mm.
smile makeovers when I don't remember learning these smile makeovers when we graduated from school? So it was a very disappointing time in my life, and that resulted in me taking on the podcast and creating that opportunity to ask people questions, ask people who are more
Wow.
experienced questions, right? How did you get there? How can I get there? Teach me the way. Kind of
Yeah.
looking for mentorship. And it's been a beautiful because I've got to connect with people like yourself and learn how to not just be a dentist, but also to be a very happy person.
Yeah. But you're so mature, I have to say, you're so open-minded and mature to take that step so early in your career. It's like how come?
Well, I was actually very much influenced by my partner at the time, who was talked about podcasting and personal growth and development, and so that kind of pushed me to have these conversations because in dentistry, I feel like we're so isolated. We're so competitive and we're such perfectionists that we don't share our stories. We just say, oh, I just did this crown and look how beautiful it looks, or I just did this composite and look how beautiful, or I took 30 minutes to do it, or I did it in 20 minutes. And it's all about this competition. It's a game. And I don't like that aspect of
No.
dentistry.
Why do you think it is like that in dentistry?
I think because we all strive to be the best. And the only way we know how to be the best is either to create something beautiful or do something quickly. Because to take too long means you're slow. And if you're slow, you're inefficient, you're incompetent. Why did you take so much time to be slow? And I felt that even in dental school, let's say when you had any simulation courses, when you were practicing your preps, if you were still the last one there, why are you taking so long? Why do you care so much?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just that culture, that mentality, and it's unhealthy, very unhealthy.
Yeah. How could we change that?
That's a great question. I think I think that's a big effort and a big ask. But you have to start with yourself. I think you can't control anyone but yourself. So to start with yourself is also an effort, but at least you can get yourself to a point where you don't really look at other people for validation. You don't need the validation of others because ultimately you went to dental school, you took the courses, you got the certification, you're competent, you have graduated with the skill set and the didactic knowledge to provide good care. Now, to finesse the care, that's experience. But that comes with time. But to understand that you have the skill set and the basic skill set to do it, then you should give yourself, that should allow you to have the confidence that you are doing, that you're the best that you can. So I don't mean to cut you off, but I actually heard something recently, which was a very good quote. It's by Ed Milet, I believe is his last name. And he said, your confidence shouldn't come from the result. It should come from the intention. So because a lot of times our talent or our skill is based on the circumstance. If you're having a bad day, if a patient is reacting badly, their tongue is moving, you don't have an assistant, that's not a reflection of your skill, that's just the circumstance. But if you go in there with the confidence, knowing that your intention is to do right by the patient, your intention is to do good by the patient, then you can, that gives you some grace. That gives you some grace.
And is that something we could teach the dental students, you think?
I think a lot of this has to be taught in dental school. We don't get this kind of exposure in dental school. We're just taught that you enter dental school, you've got 4 years to the finish line, and you just have to pass the end, right? Get to that line. They don't teach you anything about the realities of dentistry. Your instructor doesn't tell you, oh, my back hurts, my hand hurts, I'm emotionally stressed, my family doesn't see me. They don't tell you any of these things. They don't teach you how to do any kind of practice management or take care of a practice or how to be a leader. It's funny, dentists are leaders of a community in the sense that we're healthcare professionals. We have this authoritative role, but we're actually also leaders of a team. We have not just the patient, but we've got hygienists, an office manager, receptionist. So these people look to you for support. And we don't learn leadership skills at school, nothing. So we really need to invest more time in our patients, or I'm sorry, in our students.
Why do you think that they don't teach us? Because I mean, I studied from 2000 to 2005. It's long time ago, and nothing has changed, or very little has changed. Why do you think it is like that in dentistry?
I think because there's so much to learn in a very short amount of time. And the focus has to be clinical, right? On some level, it has to be didactic. There's only so much that you need to learn before you can actually perform the procedures on someone else. But they should make time for something like leadership. It could be an elective, it could be a once a week, it could be an online course. There has to be some kind of infiltration with regards to teaching, professionalism, personal growth, career development in school.
At least that you feel that you have heard it before, even if you can't really understand because you're a student, you have not been in that situation, but you still will remember it. So when you're in the situation in the future, you will, that's what the teacher said in that situation.
Right.
So I was thinking like role play could be one thing that they could have maybe in the education, like different situations that we are in. So we know how to act.
I think that's a great idea. Role playing is a great option. I remember we had a role play situation, but it was for doctors and patients, was how to communicate with your patient. But to have a role play situation where, they mimic or recreate a hard day would be great,
Yeah.
so that you can see what a
Yeah.
hard day looks like.
Yeah.
Or maybe even talking to your instructors and asking them what their practice looked like, how often, how many days did they practice, how was their career like, what were they unhappy about. Our professors never actually gave us insight into what a career in dentistry looked like, or
No.
what to watch out for, or maybe how to go about it differently. So
Yeah.
it was just all work, 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 work.
Mm. Yeah, it feels like it depends on if you're lucky enough to get a good mentor or coach or another dentist who can be there to support you. But that doesn't happen maybe so often because we don't have time.
Right.
Every dentist is with their patient.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned before, Ellie, that when you came out, you felt disappointed. What was it that made you disappointed?
I went into dentistry excited because I thought I had gained skill, right? And I was excited to learn more and show off my skill set, and to deliver care. But then I get into this office where I don't have time for patients. My time is actually very limited, like scheduling wise. The schedule wasn't well thought out. So when it came to, let's say, a root canal, I had like an hour for the root canal, but I was double booked. So I had an hour and then two fillings in two different chairs. And it's like, how am I supposed to give each patient the quality of care or the attention they need? So I felt like I was very much being thinned out in terms of being able to deliver care. And that pressure of trying to perform for each patient on a very short amount of time with very little time stressed me out.
Yeah.
And that stress went into my body, it went into my muscles. I was tense. Left work unhappy. Oh, I missed, this patient maybe is going to come back with some sensitivity. I feel like they're going to come back with, I hope that they don't come back with some sensitivity. I was just, all of these negative thoughts were in my head. And that's what's caused me to be very disappointed or very resentful with dentistry at the time.
Did you speak with someone about your feelings and thoughts?
I did. I actually mentioned this to higher ups that, the workflow isn't adequate. The workflow is insufficient. We need to take care of the team. We need to invest in the team. The dental assistants are unhappy. They're under pressure to turn over. We just didn't have the resources or the support to perform quality care. And everyone was burning out. And I mentioned this, but unfortunately it was not really heard. It went in one ear and out the other. And it was very challenging. And over time, I think that just not being heard led me to eventually leave that office because I couldn't take it anymore. It affected me mentally, emotionally. It affected my health ultimately. So I had to leave.
How did you feel it? How did it affect your health?
I was actually diagnosed with alopecia. So I started losing patches of hair. And that scared me. And I realized that this is overwhelming. This is my body now reacting and telling me that this is not okay. This is not healthy. And I thought dentistry shouldn't be like this. I didn't go into dentistry to burn out. I went into dentistry to have a work-life balance because that's what was sold to me.
Yeah.
So I had to leave in order to get myself into a healthier place.
So you left that clinic?
I did leave that clinic.
And what happened next?
I took some time to kind of manage my health. Like I said, I wasn't working full-time anymore. I cut back to 3 days a week. And I did that until I felt like I had the strength to go back into work. And I was at this time also looking for offices that were more in line with my values. So I didn't want to jump into another office where I would repeat the same kind of habit or fall into the same kind of situation. I took the time. It was
Wow.
quite a long period. And obviously living in New York City, there are some financial burdens and whatnot. But I thought that ultimately in the long term, I need to think of myself and it's okay to take this time.
Wow.
So that's what I did.
Yeah. Wow. That's admirable. And that's what I think also. I have to say that the younger generations, you're much more open-minded. You listen to yourself much more. And I've been speaking with dentists who have been working like for 2 years and want to and have already started to study something else. Like they're thinking of things that I couldn't even imagine like
Right.
doing. Yeah, I think that you're much better in listening to yourself. And I think that is a very good solution many times, to just slow down and work less. You don't have to leave completely, but work less and find where is my. I saw somebody asking, I don't know, sometimes we see what they write, but that was a really good question. Like, how do you deal with stress? And that can be tricky. And sometimes working less hours or less days could be the best solution. So it's very individual as well. So you you don't work full time now, do you?
No, no. So when it comes to dealing with that stress, as Louise and Nicola asked here on our feed, I actually don't work full time anymore. I cut back. I'm now 4 days a week. If I need to help someone out, I'm very happy to consider an extra day here or there. But I make sure that I'm working 4 days a week because it takes a toll on my body, and as well emotionally. So this way I have the flexibility of taking care of myself during those days off and building my community through Teeth Matter. And when it comes to taking care of myself, it's reading, it's working out, it's making time for friends and family, it's socializing, it's getting fresh air, because when I'm working, I don't see the sun, I don't see the light, I don't get fresh air. And that really affects my mood. I've noticed how much that affects my mood. So those are even though they seem like little things, they make a big difference in my
Yeah,
day to day. So
yeah,
that's why I decided that the 4 day a week is what suits me. And it might not be for everybody, but that's what works for me.
yeah. I did a reel some time ago that I said that I have been speaking with dentists who are happy working every day, 5 days a week. I have been speaking with dentists who are happy with working 3 days. Uh, it's only you who's listening that knows what's best for you.
Right.
And we have to find that balance in ourselves. And like you said, the balance we find outside dentistry. It's about balancing with other things
Right.
outside dentistry. That's our daily habits that count.
Right. You have to find some stimulation from other things. It can't just be dentistry. You need to find excitement and knowledge and love and comfort in things other than dentistry. So
Yeah,
you need to make sure that you don't lose sight of those different facets of
yeah,
life, because then life is just going to pass by, right? And you
exactly.
and you won't have that growth. So and for overall growth, for overall personal growth and career growth, you need to make time for other things.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Why do you think that we dentists take our profession so seriously? Like we are dentists 24/7.
That's a great question. I think it's because we work so hard to get into dental school. The whole process of getting into dental school, having the best grades, examinations, interviews, then in dental school, making sure that you pass your boards, you get to the end. I think that perfectionist mentality really makes us closed-minded in that sense. And
Mm,
that's just a personality trait. I think most of us are that way.
mm, mm. Tell us about Teeth Matter.
Well, like I said, Teeth Matter, I started actually, it was a year ago now. I started a year ago when I was experiencing that burnout. And I felt like, how are people doing these smile makeovers? How are they so happy in dentistry? Why am I struggling with a class two? Why can't I have the confidence to do a veneer case? And so I started to talk to people and ask them questions. How did you get there? How did you do this? How did you build your team? At what age did you buy out your practice? So that I can find maybe some answers to my own questions. And eventually that turned into a networking opportunity. And now it's been a great platform that's well received, and we produce episodes weekly, and then I share them on Instagram. So it's built a community where people find an opportunity to have real conversations about the misconceptions of dentistry, and also to build some kind of community where you can find reassurance in each other.
Wow. And that's exactly what we need, because I don't know if I did mention it at your podcast, that happiness, when they did the study, the Harvard study, that was the longest made, they saw that relationships are the most important thing for our happiness. And what I think we are missing many times in dentistry is we are, like you said, isolated. We don't have communication and contact with other dentists. So we think that we are alone in our situation, we're alone with our feelings. But the reality is that everybody have them.
Everyone has them. But an interesting thing that just came to mind right now is when we're alone in the chair with a patient, a lot of the times the patient gives us a lot of emotions, right? They give us these emotions, a lot of negative emotions. Oh, this hurts. Oh, don't do this. Oh, I'm gagging. Oh, wait, let me use a suction. Let me spit. And it feels like it's all targeted at us, right? It's all because of us. And so we internalize all that negativity, and that also affects our mental and emotional health. And so we need to realize that it's not we're not creating a problem. We are not the source of a problem. We're actually there to give our best and do our best and do procedures that are benefiting our patients, right? And once we leave the office, we just need to kind of separate what we do at work we have to separate work from our personal life. So work needs to end at the door, and life needs to begin when you leave. So
exactly. Wow.
It's an effort,
you're so clever. You have realized things. I mean, you graduated, what did you say, 2 years ago or 3? 2?
3 years ago now, 2021.
Yeah. So I mean, you're realizing things that I realized being in dentistry almost 20 years. Like, I was really in my bubble. So wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
A great question. I'm still figuring that out because I am in this transition phase. I don't think I'll ever go to dentistry full time. I think a part-time dentistry career is what it's going to be for me. Do I see myself owning a practice? Possibly, but not in the near future. I kind of want to do this balance of part-time dentistry and education, community, and see where that goes.
Wow. Yeah. But you're still thinking of owning a practice? You have that in your thought?
I think I can, it may be an ego thing. I don't know. Because I always thought I would eventually have my own practice, but I think I need to check it off the list. It's still my own ego, but do I think I'm going to be happier if I own a practice? Probably not. It's not going to bring me more happiness. It's just, like I said, I'm still in a place where I'm trying to figure it out. Do I need to have a practice? No. That's why I'm not in a rush to own my practice. Is it a possibility in the future? Maybe. I'm not completely closing the door on it, but for now, it's part-time dentistry in offices where I can grow to do the type of dentistry I want to do, and then building Teeth Matter, where I can do more education and community building and leadership building. So that's my goal right now, my short-term goal.
How come you became a dentist?
As a kid, I actually wanted to be a pediatrician. I was the kid who would go to the pediatrician and loved getting shots and loved watching surgeries, and I was obsessed. So growing up, I focused on sciences, through school. And I got to college, and my family was like, Ellie, medicine is very taxing. You're going to spend a lot of years in the hospital. You're a woman. You might want to have a family. You should think about dentistry instead. Look at your cousins who are all in dentistry. And so I started to consider
dentistry. You have a cousin who's a dentist.
I do. I have a few cousins who are a dentist. And so I started to think about dentistry. And in undergrad, I went on a mission trip to Nicaragua. And that was my first time really doing dentistry. Got to do what I call raw dentistry, because we were doing extractions and fillings, and I got to see that how much pain you can take away in one visit, right?
Wow.
And how much you can help someone in one visit. So that helped me pivot towards dentistry. And that was an opportunity that I had where it really showed me, how much preventative care can avoid pain, right? So, and something as simple as just cleaning your teeth, which it seems really ridiculous, but just as simple as brushing your teeth, you can take away so much pain or prevent so much pain. So I've gone into this whole notion of education and community outreach, and that eventually led me to take on a career in dentistry.
So that was before you even started dentist school.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that was before dental school. Yeah.
Wow.
So my career in dentistry was not straightforward. I wanted dentistry in undergrad. I went for it. I applied. I didn't get in. I had to go again for another round of applications. I didn't get in. And then I went on and did a master's, because what else am I going to do? I didn't know what else I can do with an anatomy degree. No one's going to hire an anatomy degree. So I figured I need to learn more about business and communications if I'm going to get a job, and also for life, because I thought eventually I'll be a dentist, I'll have my own practice, and I need to know how to manage people and money. So I did my master's in management and IT, and I focused on strategy and leadership. And I finished that. I was working for an oral health company, but ultimately my point is it took me 5 years after I graduated undergrad to finally get into dental school. So I graduated undergrad 2012, and I got into dental school 2017. So I was a little older than the rest of my class, but I like you said, that personality where we're such perfectionists and we're so goal driven, that I kept going, and I was persistent and dedicated to make sure that eventually what I wanted came true, and it did. I finally got there.
Wow.
So
Yeah. If we want something, we can get it always.
yeah.
But wow. But I really, with your whole story, what I admire of you is that now when you added that you were struggling so much to enter, and then dentistry school is another 5 years. Did I tell you about the story about the two book clubs?
No, you didn't.
So there were, I think it was Simon Sinek, an interview he had. He was telling this story. So it was a study. They made these two book clubs. One was they were equally boring, really boring. But one was really easy to enter, and the other one was really difficult to enter. You had to do theory test, practical test, oral test, a lot of tests to enter. And then they asked the easy book club, like, how is the book club? And everybody in the book club said, it's boring as hell, the worst club ever. And then they asked the other book club, like, how is the book club? And everybody said, it's the best book club ever. It's so good. It's amazing. So what that study shows is the more effort you put in achieving something, the less aware you can become, because you have put so much sweat, tears, money, time in something. So you don't even dare to think if that's the best for you. So that I really admire with you, that even though you have struggled and you enter, but you have not lost yourself. You think and you ask yourself, am I happy? No, I'm not happy. Maybe I have to slow down. I have to work less days. And that is so important, because mental illness starts when we lose attachment with ourselves. We don't even know what we want anymore, and that's when it gets difficult. So I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
And these live podcasts will only be half an hour. So now we just have a few minutes. So I
Sure.
would like to ask you, what would you like to share with the listeners that we haven't brought up?
Dentistry is difficult. There's no easy day. So just know that you are enough. You are enough as you are. You are a clinician. You have the license. You have the credentials. You are taking care of people. So just by doing that, just by taking care of patients, you are doing enough. So don't look at anyone else. Just focus on yourself. That's all I have to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, amazing. Beautiful words. Thank you very much. So we end the podcast with these beautiful sentences and message to all of you. You are enough. Thank you
Thank,
so much.
thank you so much. Great talking to you.
Yeah, great talking to you too. It's morning. You will have here it's evening.
Yeah, it's morning here in New York, so I'm about to
Morning.
start my day.
Yeah. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, everyone. Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.